Xenobiology Department Incident Report.
Classification, Extreme Biohazard / Existential Crisis. Filing Researcher, Thrynn, Senior Xenobiologist.
Status, ongoing psychological damage.
I am filing this report while my skin has been dark navy for 6 consecutive hours. My veins have not stopped glowing. I want that on record. The alarms are still blaring in Lab 7. I have stopped hearing them. They have become the ambient soundtrack of my new, worse life. Technician Voss is crying in the corner. Director Krell has locked himself in his office and drawn the blinds. The potted plant in the observation room has witnessed things no plant should witness. I have been a xenobiologist for 200 cycles. I have catalogued cellular structures from 900 species. I have seen parasites that consume hosts from the inside. I have documented bacteria that communicate through chemical warfare. I have watched predatory microorganisms hunt prey across nutrient solutions with patient, terrible efficiency. None of that prepared me for this. The incident began at 0600 station time. We requested a routine biological sample from a human crew member for comparative cellular analysis. Standard procedure. We do this constantly. Take samples from various species, place them in observation dishes, study differences in cellular behavior. The human who volunteered was a maintenance technician named Fletcher. Average height, brown hair, tan skin, that unsettling forward-facing gaze all humans have. He sat in the collection chair, extended his arm and asked if this would take long because he had a lunch voucher expiring. Fletcher asked if he could watch the blood draw. We said yes because we are idiots who did not yet understand what we were dealing with. He watched Voss insert the needle with mild curiosity, commented that it didn't hurt that bad, and then asked what exactly we were testing for. Comparative cellular analysis, I told him. Standard procedure. Cool, he said, as if that explained anything. I should have seen the warning signs, but I was naive, I was foolish. I was a xenobiologist who thought she understood biology. Technician Voss performed the blood draw. Standard equipment, standard procedure. The sample was placed in containment dish 7 alongside samples from 12 other species. Celthrani cells, Varaxian cells, 3 herbivore varieties, standard bacteria, everything properly labeled, properly distanced, properly contained. I told Fletcher we would have results within 2 hours. He thanked us, collected his lunch voucher, and left. That was the last moment of peace any of us would know. Voss noticed the anomaly first. His pointed ears started twitching. Small at first, then rapid, frantic movements that made his white hair bounce. His blue skin began shifting through 3 shades in as many seconds. "Researcher Thrynn," he said, his voice carrying that particular pitch that meant everything was about to go terribly wrong. "The human sample is moving." I walked calmly to the magnification screen, my silver hair still perfectly arranged, my understanding of cellular biology still intact. Then I looked. The human cells were not drifting. Cells drift. They float in nutrient solution, carried by minor currents, bumping into things with gentle randomness. These cells were moving with purpose, with direction, with what I can only describe as intent. Perhaps contamination, I suggested, because I believed in reasonable explanations. Voss shook his head, skin settling on pale blue. "Sample is pure. Those are human red blood cells. They're just doing that." I watched the cells move toward the Celthrani sample. My own species, my biological cousins floating peacefully in their section of the dish, completely unaware of what was approaching.
"Should we intervene?" Voss asked.
"They are cells," I said, with the confidence of someone about to be proven catastrophically wrong. "What could possibly happen?" The human cells made contact. I have watched predators hunt. I have seen the moment when prey realizes it is prey. I have documented cellular death across dozens of species. I had never seen cells simply give up. The Celthrani sample did not fight, did not flee, did not try to perform basic cellular functions. It just stopped, as if human cells had convinced it existence was no longer worth the effort. My skin went navy so fast Voss stepped back. We separated the samples. Standard quarantine. Moved human cells to an isolated dish across the lab. Proper distance, proper containment, everything by the book. I turned back to check the remaining samples. The human cells had already crossed half the dish. "That's impossible," Voss whispered, ears vibrating. "We just moved them. The dish is brand new. They shouldn't know where—" They're tracking the Varaxian sample. Varaxian cells were larger, tougher, rigid cellular walls and defensive chemical compounds, by any reasonable standard, the superior structure. Human cells did not care about reasonable standards. They surrounded the Varaxian sample like wolves circling prey, not randomly, strategically, no escape route, every direction blocked. "Are they flanking?" Voss's voice cracked. The attack lasted 4 seconds. Human cells breached Varaxian walls like they had studied structural weaknesses in advance. The sample was overwhelmed before it could respond. The cells did not consume their target. That would have made sense. Predatory cells consume to acquire resources. These cells simply destroyed, then reformed their formation and moved toward the next sample. I hit emergency quarantine. Containment shields slammed down. Sterilization compounds flooded the area. Warning lights painted everything red. The human cells ignored all of it. They divided forces, sending separate groups after each remaining sample simultaneously. Herbivores eliminated in sequence, bacteria annihilated with systematic efficiency. When they finished with external targets, they turned on each other. This is the part I need explained. This is the part that has kept me staring at screens for 6 hours while my veins pulse with each heartbeat. When human cells ran out of enemies, they did not stop hunting. They did not return to normal cellular behavior. They did not drift peacefully like proper civilized cells. They formed groups, and the groups began competing. Director Krell arrived, his dignified silver hair already disheveling, skin shifting to pale ice. "What am I looking at?" "Human cells, Director." "Why are they fighting each other?" "I do not know." "They are the same genetic material, from the same organism. Why would they— I do not know, Director." His silver eyes went wide, pupils blown. "They have formations. Thrynn, the cells have formations." "Yes, Director." "That one," he pointed with a trembling finger. "That cell in the center of the left group. It is not fighting." He was right. One cell, slightly larger, positioned centrally, not engaging in combat, observing, occasionally pulsing, and cells around it adjusting positions. "Is that cell giving orders?" Krell asked. "Director, please stop asking questions I cannot answer." The door opened behind us. "Hey, so I was just wondering about my blood test." Every blue-skinned body went pale simultaneously. Voss made a sound like a small animal being stepped on. Krell's veins lit up bright enough to illuminate the room. My ears went rigid. Fletcher walked in, holding a sandwich. "Sorry to interrupt," he said, completely oblivious to 3 Kelthrani experiencing cardiovascular distress. Voss knocked over a tray of equipment, backing away. Krell's hands were shaking so badly his tablet clattered against the console. My ears had pressed so flat against my skull they were practically invisible. Fletcher noticed none of this. He looked at the screen showing his cells locked in organized warfare. 2 factions, active combat, the command cell directing forces with horrible precision. Fletcher took a bite of his sandwich. "Oh, cool," he said, chewing. "Yeah, that checks out." Krell made a strangled noise. "That checks out?" "I mean, yeah." Fletcher shrugged. "Bodies are weird, right? Immune systems and stuff." "Your cells are hunting each other," I said, voice flat. "They have formed armies. They appear to have developed tactical coordination. One of them seems to be in command." Fletcher squinted at the screen. "Huh, the big one in the middle?" "Yes." "Nice. Go, little guy." Another bite. "So is this a normal amount of time for blood tests? I've got a shift in an hour." We did not give Fletcher results. We initiated level 4 containment and summoned every available xenobiologist. 12 scientists stood in the observation chamber, blue skin displaying various alarm shades, watching human cells run what appeared to be training exercises. 2 groups circling each other in patterns that repeated with mechanical precision. We decided to run additional tests. Every test was a mistake. Test 1. Pathogen. Introduction. We introduced standard bacteria. Routine procedure. Expected result. Slow, chemical, largely passive immune response. Human cells detected the pathogen in 0.3 seconds. They moved before contact, as if sensing the threat through mechanisms we could not identify. The pathogen, a hardy strain typically requiring sustained response, lasted 8 seconds. The cells did not simply destroy it, they dismantled it, systematically, targeting structural weaknesses with impossible precision. Test 2. Repeated pathogen. Same bacterial strain, second introduction. Elimination time, 4 seconds. They had learned, identified bacterial structure during the first encounter, developed more efficient destruction methods. They are adapting in real time, Krell said, hollow-voiced. Cells do not adapt in real time, researcher Venn said, but her conviction was fading. Human cells do, I said. Test 3. Novel pathogen, synthetic bacteria, no natural analog, completely foreign to human biology. The cells hesitated 2 seconds, then attacked. Small groups engaged, retreated, engaged again, probing, testing, learning. Within 60 seconds, the novel pathogen was eliminated. They developed a counter-strategy from nothing, Venn whispered, tears tracking down pale cheeks. Cells do not have memory. Cells do not have memory. Test 4. Cellular memory. We waited 1 hour. Reintroduced the first pathogen. Elimination time, 1.2 seconds. They remembered, Krell said. The cells had not just remembered. They recognized, treated it as a returning enemy. Their response was not defensive, it was vengeful. Human cells hold grudges. I made a note in my report. Human cellular immune response demonstrates learning capability, adaptive strategy development, and tactical coordination. Mechanism unknown. Implications concerning. Then I crossed out concerning and wrote terrifying. We took a break after test 4. Several researchers needed to sit down. Voss had been crying for an hour and showed no signs of stopping. Krell stood at the observation window staring at nothing, his blue skin cycling through shades like a broken display. I went to the cafeteria. Fletcher was eating lunch, some grain bowl with vegetables. He waved when I entered. "Hey, blood test lady!" He gestured to the seat across from him. "Want to sit? You look stressed." I sat. My skin was navy, my veins glowing, my entire understanding of cellular biology in smoking ruins. I had just watched his cells develop revenge-based immune responses. "So what's the deal with my blood test?" he asked, scooping vegetables into his mouth like a man who had not just traumatized an entire scientific department. "Your cells are unusual." "Yeah? How so?" I considered explaining. The hunting, the coordination, the memory, the armies. "They are very active," I said. "Is that bad?" "We are still determining that. Let me know if you need more samples." "We do not need more samples." "You sure? I've got plenty of blood. Normal amount, probably." I stared at him. Ordinary-looking body. Inside, cells hunting each other, training for non-existent conflicts, holding grudges against bacteria destroyed hours ago. "Fletcher, do you know what your cells do?" "Blood stuff, oxygen and whatever." "Your cells hunt. When there are no external threats, they hunt each other." He paused, utensil halfway to his mouth. For the first time, his expression showed recognition. "Oh, yeah, that tracks." "It tracks? Gotta stay sharp somehow. Can't let skills get rusty just because nothing's trying to kill you at that exact moment. Your cells train for combat that may never come." "Better to have skills and not need them, right?" He gestured, scattering a vegetable piece. "Like, I know how to fix a dozen engine types. Do I use all of them regularly? No. But if one breaks, I'm ready." "Your cells think this way." "They're my cells. Probably think however I think, just smaller." I returned to the laboratory with a terrible hypothesis. Human cells were not malfunctioning. They were not exhibiting anomalous behavior. They were not broken or corrupted or contaminated. They were doing exactly what they were designed to do. Human biology is not passive, I told the assembled researchers. Their blue faces stared at me with various expressions of dread. It is not reactive, it is proactive. Their immune systems do not wait for threats. They prepare for them. They train. They strategize. They remember.
That is inefficient, Venn said. Constant preparation drains resources.
Humans eat constantly, multiple times daily. Their metabolisms are furnaces designed to fuel perpetual readiness. Silence. Their entire biology, Krell said slowly, is optimized for conflict?
For survival. Conflict is the method. Test 5.
I am not proud of Test 5. The ethics committee has already expressed concerns. But we needed to know. Scientists always need to know, even when knowing costs us our sleep and our peace and our ability to look at humans without screaming. We introduced an overwhelming threat. Concentrated aggressive bacteria far beyond normal immune capacity. Cellular apocalypse in a Petri dish. The human cells did not panic, did not scatter, did not flee. They consolidated. Every cell, regardless of previous faction, merged into a single defensive formation. The internal war ended instantly. Former enemies became allies. Command cells coordinated without apparent communication, resources shared, positions optimized. Weaker cells moved to the center, stronger cells formed the perimeter. Then they fought. Not a battle, a siege. They established a perimeter and held it. Rotated fighters to prevent exhaustion. Sacrificed damaged cells to protect healthy ones. Fought with grim, methodical efficiency of soldiers who understood survival required cost. The overwhelming bacterial force was eliminated in 4 minutes, 37 seconds. Human casualties, 15%. The surviving cells immediately began hunting dead bacterial material, not for consumption, not for resources, for confirmation. They are making sure, Voss whispered, skin nearly white, making sure the enemy is truly dead. Human cellular behavior demonstrates collective response to existential threat, resource sharing under stress, strategic sacrifice, and post-combat verification. These cells do not fight, they wage war. I watched researcher Venn sit down heavily, her legs apparently giving out. Krell had stopped asking questions entirely. Voss had progressed from crying to a kind of numb silence that was somehow worse. Krell closed the observation window blinds. The samples will be sterilized, the data classified, the incident report sealed. He turned, silver eyes hollow. We will not speak of this again. But the scientific implications are... The implications are that humans are composed entirely of microscopic soldiers who train constantly, adapt instantly, hold grudges indefinitely, and coordinate into armies when threatened. His skin flickered. The galaxy is not ready to know this. We launched the samples into the nearest sun. The entire xenobiology department requested therapy. Technician Voss has applied for a transfer to botanical studies, where the subjects do not hunt each other. I went back to the cafeteria. Fletcher was eating dessert, some kind of sweetened grain product. He smiled when I entered, that strange human expression that involved showing teeth. Hey, blood test lady, round 2. Good news or bad news? I sat down across from him. My skin had stabilized at medium blue, though my veins still pulsed faintly with residual terror. Your results are normal. Cool. I was worried. You guys seemed freaked out. We were being thorough. Right. Science stuff. He nodded, chewing. So, everything's good? No weird diseases? No weird diseases. Awesome. He stood, stretching arms above his head. Inside those arms, his cells were probably running tactical drills. Thanks for checking me out. Let me know if you need more samples.
We will not need more samples.
Offer stands. He smiled again, showing teeth. Have a good one, blood test lady. He left. I sat there a long time, staring at the table where he had been sitting, at the crumbs from his dessert, at the chair that had held a being whose cellular material had given an entire department collective trauma. A Thrynn researcher walked past, saw my glowing veins, and immediately changed direction. They nearly tripped over a chair in their haste to avoid me. I do not blame them. I would avoid me too. End report. Yesterday I passed Fletcher in the corridor. He waved at me, casual, friendly, completely unaware of what he had done to us. "Hey, blood test lady, how's it going?" My skin went navy, my veins lit up, my ears pressed flat against my skull. Two other Kelthrani who had been walking nearby saw Fletcher, saw me, and immediately reversed direction. "Fine," I said, and walked very quickly away. Fletcher probably thinks I am shy. He probably thinks all Kelthrani are shy. He probably has no idea that his species has been classified as a potential biohazard at the cellular level. This is acceptable. The alternative is explaining that his blood is composed of microscopic warriors who never stop preparing for war, who learn from every battle, who hold grudges against enemies they destroyed hours ago, and who will unite into a single terrifying army the moment they perceive a sufficient threat. I do not have the psychological resources for that conversation. No one does. Filed by researcher Thrynn. Status: requesting extended leave. Recommendation: do not collect human biological samples. Do not examine human biological samples. Do not think about human biological samples. Addendum: if a human offers you a sample voluntarily, run. Second addendum: we have removed all humans from the routine sample collection list, permanently.